Mars, the global conflict 300 million years ago that may have destroyed life on the Red Planet.
The weapons not only wiped out the civilization, but basically destroyed the biosphere of Mars, so it could never recover.
L. Ron Hubbard ran off with my girlfriend, the exploding occult magician behind NASA's rocket program.
He was a genius. The things he invented started America off on the space race.
And a signal from space. Some scientists think it's from a giant spaceship.
These radio bursts could be a sign of alien propulsion systems.
These are NASA's unexplained files. August 2012. NASA's Curiosity rover arrives on Mars. Just beneath the surface, NASA scientists are expecting to find red oxidized iron dust, and plenty of it. What they're not expecting to find is evidence of a nuclear war. A devastating conflict that seems to have taken place on Mars 300 million years ago. Curiosity rover has been sent to Mars to analyze the chemical composition of the red planet. What it finds, to the surprise of planetary scientists, are significant amounts of xenon-129.
The Mars Curiosity rover found that the abundance of xenon-129 is much higher than what we see here on Earth. What process is creating this enhanced abundance of xenon?
Scientists around the world struggle to explain the presence of this radioactive isotope. Among those analyzing the data is Dr. John Brandenburg, a former NASA physicist and deputy manager on the Clementine moon mission. Brandenburg is amazed for one simple reason. Xenon-129 is the byproduct of nuclear weapon explosions.
I have shown this to several nuclear weapons experts, and they have affirmed that this is nuclear weapon signature. There is no other process that can create such a xenon spectrum.
Earth has experienced over 70 years of atomic bomb testing, each time leaving traces of xenon-129. But the xenon-129 reading on Mars is still 2.5 times higher than that found on Earth.
The presence of certain elements on Mars indicate that there was a nuclear explosion or explosions on the surface of Mars at some point in the planet's history.
Brandenburg observes 2 nuclear hotspots in the northern hemisphere of Mars, where radiation levels are higher than anywhere else on the planet. What's more, it appears the nuclear blasts were occurring in midair, above the surface.
What's also interesting is what is not found. There is no crater at either side, indicating that these explosions were airbursts.
The size of the radioactive hotspots leads Brandenburg to a devastating conclusion.
We're talking nuclear weapons size of the Empire State Building, dropped from space and detonating kilometers above the surface.
Historically, if you look at pictures and listen to first-hand accounts of the explosion of the bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, it's the same sort of thing. No crater, but massive explosion, massive expanse of energy, total destruction, everything in that energy's path.
Brandenburg has analyzed the Mars rover data to establish when this nuclear holocaust occurred.
Best estimates for timescale based on isotopic evidence is that this happened 300 million years ago.
This could turn our concept of Mars completely on its head.
Many scientists believe that millions of years ago, Mars had an atmosphere and liquid water, conditions where life could thrive.
Mars might even have had oceans and lakes. Mars might even have had oceans and lakes.
Humans have looked for signs of life on Mars since telescopes could first scan its surface. In 1877, Giovanni Schiaparelli mistakenly thinks he sees irrigation or transport canals crisscrossing the Martian landscape. In 1976, the Viking probe sends back low-resolution photos wrongly identifying pyramids and a giant sphinx-like face. But in 2016, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter beams back higher quality images of what some have interpreted as the ruins of Bronze Age-style walled cities.
Obviously, a civilization in that state wouldn't have had the capability to blow themselves up with nuclear weapons, which means that somehow some other predatory alien race must have intervened. Imagine the inhabitants of this Martian civilization. All of a sudden, there's huge flashes of light and heat. Destruction reigns everywhere, and everything you've ever known is destroyed in an instant. It literally would have been hell on Mars.
The weapons not only wiped out the civilization, but basically destroyed the biosphere of Mars, so it could never recover.
The idea of a Martian civilization destroyed in this way seems incredible, and scientists have looked for other explanations for the presence of Xenon-129 on Mars. After all, it is possible for nuclear activity of sorts to take place in nature.
On the continent of Africa, in the country of Gabon, there's a uranium deposit that's been discovered, and it shows clear evidence of a sustained nuclear reaction similar to what occurs in our fission reactors.
Under very unique conditions, water flowing through the uranium deposit can cause fission, the same process used inside an atom bomb.
But this thing did what it did 1.7 billion years ago. Not only were there no humans around then, there wasn't even multicellular life on Earth. Nature has illustrated that it can create its own nuclear reactors.
The question is, could this same event have occurred naturally on Mars?
But former NASA physicist Dr. John Brandenburg says the material found on Mars cannot have been produced by any natural nuclear process.
A natural nuclear reactor, if it had gone unstable on Mars, not only would produce the wrong xenon spectrum, but it would have created two massive craters, and there was no craters. The ground is absolutely smooth.
Brandenburg believes the evidence points in one direction. 300 million years ago, intelligent life on Mars was destroyed in a nuclear war of the worlds.
We've now discovered that humanity is not the most evil species in the cosmos. We are not an aberration on nature. We're part of the fabric of the universe. And not everything in the universe is friendly.
If this happened that Mars was attacked by aliens, it happened when there was virtually no intelligent life on Earth, so they wouldn't have noticed us. But the question remains, now that we're here, are they coming back?
June 17th, 1952. Millionaires Row, Pasadena, California. The well-heeled neighborhood is rocked by an enormous explosion.
The emergency crews rush to the scene and they find this absolute devastation.
There's blood everywhere. There's the shattered body of a man on the floor.
He's got a limb severed. He's just incredible injuries.
The fatally wounded man is no ordinary Pasadena resident. This is NASA rocket pioneer Jack Parsons.
Jack Parsons, the co-founder of NASA's Jet Propulsion Labs.
He was a genius. The things he invented started America off on the space race.
But there's more to Jack Parsons than rocket science.
After he's taken to hospital, they look around and they find this weird stuff.
There are papers scattered all around, strange symbols, pentagrams.
Something strange was going on.
Jack Parsons didn't just believe in science, he believed in black magic.
So you've got this guy who In his day job, he's doing amazing, brilliant rocket science work.
By night, he practiced weird occult magic.
So, you have to ask yourself, was it an accident? Was it a suicide? Or did the occult rituals work? Some believe they did.
Coming up, the genius behind NASA's rocket technology believes there is secret science hidden in black magic.
You have to ask, did Jack Parsons discover a real link between quantum theory and magic?
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich.
You asked for it, and it's back.
We got 3 chicken strips, 2 slices of Monterey Jack cheese, topped with Whataburger's own buffalo sauce, a little bit of buttermilk ranch. The combination is just right.
It's crunchy and then spicy and then full. Your mouth is exploding with flavor. It just all works together, and then you add the cheese in there.
It kind of wakes me up, honestly. My goodness. I can see myself eating this every time I come here.
The Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich. It's back, and it's only for a limited time.
All right, listen up. Shingles, we've been protecting this roof for years, and it's time to go.
Tell me about it. I can't hold my water anymore. Uh-oh, I'm gonna leak in their bedroom.
And these blotches and stains are showing my age. The homeowner needs to show us some love.
Got new problems popping up on your roof? Get free gutters with the purchase of a new roof.
We build trust and peace of mind into every long roofing roof.
Call today. Offer ends soon.
Houston, where cultures come together, where inspiration
takes center stage,
and big dreams come true.
It's where fun happens every day.
Visit Houston for yourself and find out where the inspiration leads you.
This is my body of proof.
Proof of less joint pain and clearer skin.
Proof that I can fight psoriatic arthritis.
With Humira. Humira targets and blocks a specific source of inflammation that contributes to both joint and skin symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain, stop further irreversible joint damage, and clear skin in many adults. Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for psoriatic arthritis.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ask your rheumatologist about Humira.
Go to mypsaproof.com to see proof in action.
The conspiracy theorists believe that this is shot on a set somewhere.
3 experts.
We would love to prove these facts.
Their mission.
Whoa.
Find the truth.
There's a bunch of questions still unanswered. What does it take to block the radiation?
I've worked for NASA. Why do you think we were fake?
The technology of the time was the toaster.
Wow. The investigation must go on.
Truth Behind the Moon Landing. Series premiere Sunday at 10 on Science and Sci-Go.
Summertime is grilling time. And Lowe's does summer right with deals on everything you need. So long summer days lead to great summer nights. Now get Charbroiled Grill starting at $109. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
Parsons, the rocket genius who got NASA into space, is killed in what some suspect is a black magic ritual gone horribly wrong. Investigators find Parsons always flirted with danger, even at the start of his career as a student at Caltech in 1935.
His group was known as the Suicide Squad.
They were kind of banished to the outskirts of the campus because what they were doing was so dangerous.
They'd go out in Aurora Canyon, lay down behind little hills and sandbags. They're firing rocket motors 10, 20 feet away. These liquid rocket motors and solid rocket motors. And everybody was always putting themselves at risk.
In time, Parsons' solid fuel rockets will become the basis for the Minuteman missile, the Titan rocket, and eventually the Space Shuttle boosters. his success leads to the foundation of NASA's legendary Jet Propulsion Laboratory and makes Parsons a rich man. But building rockets to reach space is not the limit of Parsons' ambition. He's fascinated by the mysterious new science of quantum mechanics and connects it with the world of the so-called paranormal.
Quantum theory promises to upend traditional Newtonian theories, and Parsons loves it.
Quantum theory is rock-solid science, but for some, it also appears to have magical properties.
A particle doesn't have to be here or there. It can be here and there at the same time. Particles can be in multiple states at the same time.
Quantum theory states that there are other dimensions, and quantum theory also states that particles can influence each other over great distances.
It's not hard to see how people encountering quantum physics for the first time could think that it's magic.
In 1941, Parsons joins a secret society known as Ordo Templi Orientis, practitioners of the occult.
Parsons is not a casual observer. He goes deep into the occult.
With his occult magic, he was specifically interested in ritual summoning. He wanted to bring entities from other realms that he thought existed in the quantum space.
Parsons' occult obsessions take a demonic turn as he studies under legendary Satanist Aleister Crowley. The charismatic devil worshipper's teaching soon seeps into Parsons' work on spaceflight.
Not only does Parsons get to know Crowley, but he performs his ritual before rocket tests.
Crowley claimed his rituals put him in contact with a being called Lamb, who his followers connect with space-traveling alien life forms.
For Parsons, the idea of rocketry and the occult were not separable. They were actually complementary to each other. He saw them both as helping us to push our minds toward the understanding of the fundamental processes of the universe.
In 1945, science fiction writer and Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard moves into the rocket scientist's Pasadena mansion. Parsons' determination to prove a link between science and magic is taken to a whole new level.
Parsons and Hubbard go deep. They start to do all sorts of ritualistic occult practices, conjurings, the summoning of demons, of goddesses.
Some observers report the duo's quantum magic rituals are working in bizarre and disturbing ways.
One time, the guests claimed he summoned a banshee that rattled the windows, which left them disturbed for the rest of their lives.
Hubbard's energizing presence gives Parsons the chance to perform the biggest experiment in quantum magic he has ever attempted.
The relationship between Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard is about to explode in a spectacular way.
As their relationship develops, Hubbard convinces Parsons to give him $20,000.
That's a lot of money.
Hubbard literally sails off in his yacht with Parsons' girlfriend and his money. In a fit of vengeful madness, Parsons decides to test out his weird cocktail of black magic and quantum physics.
What's Parsons' solution? Well, he's going to force the yacht back to shore.
He attempts to summon a storm. Whether Parsons discovers a real link between quantum theory and magic or not, the weather begins to change.
There is, in fact, a storm, and the yacht does have to return to harbor.
But these deeply unsettling experiments do not endear Parsons to the U.S. government.
This is not good for his career as a rocket scientist. He falls out of favor with the military-industrial complex. He loses his job. And what does he do? He decides to make pyrotechnics for the motion picture industry.
And this turn of events will eventually seal his fate in a spectacular fashion.
So he's gone from a rocket hero to creating pyrotechnics for Hollywood, and that's when the explosion occurs.
Coming up, modern-day scientists confirm there may be some truth in Parsons' seemingly crazy ideas.
Is it possible that Parsons was using quantum theory to make occult magic in Pasadena?
And massive energy bursts in space leave astronomers scrambling for answers.
These are some of the most powerful objects in the universe, and we have no idea what's going on.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
Ready to upgrade your appliances? Today is the day for Do It. The Home Depot makes it easy to save now, compare options, and fuel your team for less. Get guaranteed lowest prices like $2,000 off the Samsung Family Hub Suite. The Home Depot. More saving. More Do It.
What? She's ziplining with Little John?
It's Little John. Even he knows that.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Don't hate like their trip. Book yours with Hotels.com and get rewarded basically everywhere.
Hotels.com. Be there. Do that. Get rewarded.
A smile shop is where smiles are made, where a smile guide, just like this, walks you through your transformation to a smile you'll love. During your free 30-minute visit, we'll show you a 3D image of your teeth and talk about straightening your smile. Then, we deliver clear aligners to you for just $85 a month with $250 down. No braces, no monthly office visits, no paying a fortune. And hey, now we're in the neighborhood. Book your free visit now at SmileDirectClub.com.
Hurry into Kia's summer sticker sales event to get 0% APR for 66 months and up to $2,000 additional cash on specially tagged 2019 models. Visit your local Kia dealer, look for a sticker, and save.
Growing up, not forgiving. Charbroil Grills, forgiving.
With the Chase mobile app, Jason Wu could pay practically anyone at any bank, all while putting on a runway show. Or he could make it even easier with recurring payments to his cat sitter.
And now she's ready for the catwalk.
Chase, think more of what's yours.
Summertime is grilling time. And Lowe's does summer right with deals on everything you need. So long summer days lead to great summer nights. Now get Charbroil Grill starting at $109. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
10 years ago, Brian Ortega was given a choice. Continue fighting for his life in the streets of LA, or bring his fighting spirit into the octagon, fighting for gold and his community. Modelo, the official beer of UFC.
Rocket genius Jack Parsons is killed in an explosion at his Pasadena home. His body is surrounded by the bizarre paraphernalia of black magic.
The police finding an explosion having occurred, the body being mangled, the strange occult papers around it, starts up all the questions that you'd expect. Well, what really happened here?
The police investigation concludes that Parsons' death was due to an accident, probably from sloppy handling of chemicals for his pyrotechnics. But an independent investigator found that the explosion unexpectedly originated from under the floorboards, rather than in the laboratory that Parsons was working in, furthering suspicion as to what disturbing activities Parsons was involved in when he died.
Is it possible that Parsons was using quantum theory to make occult magic in Pasadena?
Parsons' quantum theories were widely rejected, and NASA viewed him as an embarrassment.
Some people thought he was downright nuts. Literally, not screws loose, screws missing. All sorts of crazy.
But today, Some modern scientists, like theoretical physicist Dr. Fred Alan Wolf, have concluded that something like a spirit world is encoded in a quantum state. A parallel dimension that intersects with our own.
Did Jack Parsons discover something that we don't know about and maybe he took to his grave when he blew up in Pasadena? We'll never know.
Across the world, radio telescopes face skywards to unravel the mysteries of the universe and to spot threats to our planet. In September 2007, scientists detect something massive that seems to be the work of an alien intelligence.
For 5 milliseconds, this telescope picked up a signal that was 500 million times more powerful than the sun.
So what we see are these enormously powerful outpourings of energy in the form of radio waves that don't fit the profile of any of the processes that we know.
First thought is, well, that's freaky. Was it interference? Was it maybe someone microwaving their lunch at lunchtime? But these things kept happening again and again and again. Eventually, it was proved that they're coming from deep, deep space.
Scientists record over 60 of the baffling, tremendously powerful bursts of energy, coming from unknown locations spread right across the universe. They become known as fast radio bursts, or FRBs, and some are even seen to repeat in a seemingly unnatural rhythm. These mysterious, ferocious, yet fleetingly brief bursts leave scientists scrambling to explain their origin.
These are some of the most powerful objects in the universe, and we have no idea what's going on. The question is this some natural process that we haven't previously encountered, or is it something being done deliberately by a civilization much more advanced than our own?
Coming up, scientists consider that the massive energy burst could be signs of a super advanced technology.
These radio bursts could be a sign of alien propulsion systems.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
It's mowing time, and time for you to get a new Kubota zero-turn lawnmower. Hi, I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota, and here to help me today are my 6 amazingly talented daughters.
Come try out the new Kubota ZD series, or the Kubota Z400 series, or the Kubota Z100 series.
Thanks, girls. So please stop by one of our 8 locations to check out your next Kubota zero-turn mower, only at Ewald Kubota.
All right, listen up. Shingles, we've been protecting this roof for years, and it's time to go.
Tell me about it. I can't hold my water anymore. Uh-oh, I'm gonna leak in their bedroom.
And these blotches and stains are showing my age. The homeowner needs to show us some love.
Got new problems popping up on your roof? Get free gutters with the purchase of a new roof.
We build trust and peace of mind into every long roofing roof.
Call today. Offer ends soon.
All right, listen up. Shingles, we've been protecting this roof for years, and it's time to go.
Tell me about it. I can't hold my water anymore. Uh-oh, I'm gonna leak in their bedroom.
And these blotches and stains are showing my age. The homeowner needs to show us some love.
Got new problems popping up on your roof? Get free gutters with the purchase of a new roof.
We build trust and peace of mind into every long roofing roof.
Call today. Offer ends soon.
All right, listen up. Shingles, we've been protecting this roof for years, and it's time to go.
Tell me about it. I can't hold my water anymore. Uh-oh, I'm gonna leak in their bedroom.
And these blotches and stains are showing my age. The homeowner needs to show us some love.
Got new problems popping up on your roof? Get free gutters with the purchase of a new roof.
We build trust and peace of mind into every long roofing roof.
Call today. Offer ends soon.
Ever wonder why someone would go to the ends of the earth and leap into the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
T-ball. Not forgiving. Charbroil grills? Forgiving. Forgiving True Infrared cooking technology prevents flare-ups, so you can say bye-bye to bad cookouts. Forgiving grills for the win.
Immensely powerful bursts of energy, 500 million times more powerful than the sun, are recorded across deep space.
The question is, could this be something that is artificial?
Some astrophysicists believe that the FRBs could be evidence of aliens launching massive star-sail spacecraft.
One idea put forward by Avi Loeb of Harvard University and some of his associates is that perhaps this is some wildly powerful, wildly advanced alien civilization using immensely potent radio waves to send spacecraft all throughout the universe.
The radio waves hit the star sails and accelerate the craft, just as the wind propels a sailboat at sea.
You can conceivably accelerate a, fairly large, fairly light ship up to a large fraction of the speed of light just by pushing on it with a sufficiently intense beam generated on the ground at home where you have plenty of fuel to burn.
So you're talking about building a transmitter the size of a planet, powered by a power source the size of an entire star. You could imagine there might be alien civilizations that could harness these degrees of power and have this degree of engineering to pull off this sort of crazy feat.
On Earth, NASA has already attempted to build their own space sails, testing their deployment in orbit around our planet. But a discovery made by NASA during their tests leads scientists to question whether alien star sailors really would propel their ships using fast radio bursts.
Radio wouldn't necessarily be your first choice of methods to propel this. You get a much greater punch out of shooting a beam of visible light, which is why the proposals to do this from Earth mostly involve large arrays of visible lasers.
Advanced civilization has probably leapt beyond a sail ship. They are more than likely using something that's more akin to being able to bend or warp time and space in order to get from one place to another.
For now, the true nature of the fast radio bursts lies tantalizingly out of reach. One day, an alien sail ship might come into view. Until then, scientists must keep scanning the skies for clues.
We have a handful of compelling theories, but you know what? We actually don't know. We have no conclusive explanation as to what's causing these fast radio bursts. They're a complete mystery.
To the human eye, the Earth is solid, stable, and calm. But this is an illusion.
The Earth is like a spinning top in space. We're moving at 67,000 miles per hour around the sun, but we're also spinning at 1,000 miles per hour on our axis.
As the Earth careens through space, our spinning top planet rotates on an axis running through the North and South poles. But in the year 2000, NASA scientists spot something deeply troubling. Our planet's rotational axis is changing.
The rotational axis of the Earth generally moves further westward every single year. But suddenly, in year 2000, scientists measured that the North Pole started shifting more towards the east, out of nowhere.
Scientists knew the pole was moving westward and predicted it would continue to do so. Now, it switched direction.
This is a groundbreaking discovery.
Worse still, the pole is moving twice as fast as it was before, and it seems to be accelerating.
This change is surprising, both in the rate that it's happening and how strong it is.
If this migration of the North Pole continues to go east, the equator will then come up to reach Chicago. And now you have Chicago at the equator, and things get really bizarre.
The wandering position of the Earth's spin axis could dramatically shift the world's climate, changing the United States into a vast, baked desert. Rising temperatures would cause the mighty Mississippi to evaporate to a feeble trickle. Agonizing droughts cause the lush farmlands of Virginia to turn to cracked, barren wilderness, while the forests of this once green nation burn to ash.
Let's say you're living in Los Angeles. Everything just keeps heating up, and heating up. There's no way to avoid all the water just being evaporated away. It'd be a dry, barren, very hot wasteland.
Anything that couldn't adapt would die. It would be impossible to sustain agriculture. There would be famine. We would have a migration crisis like none the world has ever seen.
The rest of the Earth as we know it would be turned on its head. The South Pacific would be locked in sheet ice. The Arctic would melt. Europe would become home to the new North Pole. 5,000 years of civilization reduced to a frigid wasteland.
We absolutely couldn't survive. I mean, it's a bizarre world that it's almost hard to imagine. The question is, why is this happening? Is there something that's just throwing the Earth off kilter?
Scientists must discover what's causing this potentially catastrophic shift. They use the twin satellites of NASA's Grace mission. Orbiting 300 miles above the Earth's poles, the two identical spacecraft are mapping subtle changes in the planet's mass. They find something is pushing the Earth out of balance.
The mass distribution on the Earth has changed a little bit, and that affects how the Earth spins and wobbles.
Imagine you're spinning a soccer ball, and you put a piece of gum on one side of the ball. That's going to change the way the ball ends up spinning.
If you change the weight of the Earth on one side, you can cause it to, well, rotate over.
Grace scours the globe to pinpoint the location of the change in the mass of the Earth. Finally, scientists uncover the horrifying truth. Coming up, experts race to find a way to wrestle the Earth back to its rightful position.
Will we cross a tipping point where there's no return?
And a brave new world creates mankind's deadliest rival.
The people who arrive on Proxima Centauri B might become the first new species of humanoids.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
We're looking to figure out the real story of the moon landing. We've been waiting for this moment.
Truth Behind the Moon Landing. Series premiere Sunday at 10 on Science and SciGo.
Ready to upgrade your appliances? Today is the day for Do It. The Home Depot makes it easy to save now, compare options, and fuel your team for less. Get guaranteed lowest prices, like the Samsung laundry pair, just $6.98 each. The Home Depot. More save, more Do It.
She's staying in a rainforest treehouse? That's my dream.
You dream big for a man on a plane to Omaha.
And she's ziplining with Little John?
What?
It's Little John.
Even he knows that.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
You're with Big John.
I'm Steve.
Don't hate like their trip. Book yours with Hotels.com and get rewarded basically everywhere.
Hotels.com. Be there. Do that. Get rewarded.
Control the cloud of nasties with new Cloud Control. What happens in the litter box stays in the litter box.
These folks, they don't have time to go to the post office. They have businesses to grow.
customers to care for, lives to get home to. They use Stamps.com. Print discounted postage for any letter, any package, anytime, right from your computer. All the amazing services of the post office, only cheaper. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/now and never go to the post office again.
Not getting enough cash back with that credit card? Turn to the nerds. Are your credit cards working hard enough for you? At NerdWallet, we sort through hundreds of credit cards to find you the lowest rates and the sweetest perks like balance transfers and travel. Using your preferences to narrow your search, NerdWallet makes it easy to compare and find the perfect card for you. Need the right credit card? Turn to the nerds at nerdwallet.com.
Since the year 2000, scientists have been investigating why our planet's rotational axis is changing, with the potential to wreak havoc with the world's weather. Scientists have been monitoring the shift with the use of satellites from NASA's GRACE mission.
GRACE is identifying this change in mass over India.
Scientists discovered that it's due to pumping groundwater that's causing this change in weight distribution on our planet.
Humans have pulled so much water out of the aquifers for agricultural purposes that it's actually changing the balance of mass on the planet.
This is really remarkable that human activity represents enough of a change in the mass distribution of the planet that it can actually have effects on Earth's spin and polar wander of the Earth.
India, home to nearly 1.4 billion people, is soon to become the most heavily populated country on Earth. India's demand for water is so intense, its 12 million water pumps remove water equivalent to the volume of Lake Erie every 2 years. Water nature cannot replace quickly enough.
It's actually mind-boggling that we are moving enough water that it actually affects the Earth, the planet we live on. It's huge.
Further analysis shows India isn't the only place where the Earth's mass is being changed by human activity.
Take China as an example. They have poured more concrete in 3 years than all of the United States in the 20th century. That's a mind-boggling amount of concrete.
We're talking about tiny changes compared to the overall weight of the Earth, but tiny changes can have enormous impacts.
Across China, the totalitarian state embarks on construction projects, the likes of which the world has never seen, at breakneck speed. Chinese families and their homes are bulldozed to make way for these megastructures. But everyone on the planet is set to suffer as the weight of concrete redistributes the mass of the Earth.
We think we're just simply ants on a ball. But these little things that can't affect anything. Yet we do. It's our action that affects the Earth.
And when scientists analyze the changes further, they realize the mass anomalies caused by concrete and water use in Asia are located in the worst possible places on the globe.
Now, the changes happening are pretty tiny compared to the mass of our planet. But because of where they're happening, it's what can cause major effects to our planet overall.
The most sensitive part on the Earth to change the spin axis is at around 45 degrees. That's the sweet spot.
This is really a problem because most of us live in those locations. There aren't many people that live near the poles. We're going to continue to lose mass in terms of groundwater in the populated areas at 45 degrees all the way down to the equator.
The changing mass of the Earth is likely to accelerate, and with it, the way the planet rotates. America's future as a desolate equatorial wasteland could arrive sooner than we thought.
It's a terrifying possibility. Nothing would ever be the same again.
Scientists are running out of time to find a way to get the planet's rotational axis back on track.
If we're going to fix it, we're going to have to get radical. Either we deconstruct the cities and refill the aquifers that we've depleted, Or we get extreme and we build counterbalanced cities, maybe somewhere in South America. Maybe in the next 30 years we need 20 million people to move to Chile.
Alongside new South American cities, mankind will literally have to move mountains to redistribute the mass of the Earth. Preventing the extinction of America will require the greatest international cooperation the world has ever seen. But many scientists believe it is possible.
I do believe that humans would find a way to geoengineer their way out of the situation, to get the Earth back to how it used to be.
If we can't stop it, our world will become a wasteland.
There's one troubling thing about tipping points. If you tip too far over, you're going to topple into a nightmare.
August 2016. Astronomers discover something that could change the future of humanity. Studying Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our sun, they detect a planet orbiting around it. What's more, the planet seems Earth-like. They name it Proxima Centauri b.
Proxima Centauri b is about the mass of Earth. It looks like it's in the habitable zone of its star. I mean, how amazing is that?
It's called Proxima because it's so close. So close that NASA may already be capable of getting us there.
Hard as it may be to believe, technology for reaching Proxima Centauri b has actually existed since the 1950s. It's called a Project Orion spaceship. Basically, it's a large pogo stick that moves through space by exploding nuclear bombs behind it.
The dream of exploration is burning within us. So there are people who will find a way to get to Proxima Centauri b.
Project Orion could deliver thousands of intrepid human pioneers to the brave new world of Proxima b by the end of the century. But a 2017 NASA report reveals that when the colonists reach the surface of their new home, it will be the greatest survival challenge mankind has ever faced.
The NASA study looks at how Earth-like and habitable Proxima b might be. It's not good news.
So Proxima Centauri b may be a habitable planet, but it's also probably a dangerous place to live, at least for us.
The greatest risk to the colonists come from their new sun. Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf, and that makes it dangerous.
Because Proxima Centauri is much smaller and much cooler than the sun, the planet around it actually needs to be a lot closer to the star in order to be in the habitable zone.
It's about 20 times closer to its host star than Earth is to the sun.
But it also means that that planet gets lashed by up to 2,000 times more solar winds and cosmic rays and ultraviolet rays than our own sun does for Earth.
When the colonists stride out onto the surface of their new home planet, the sun in the sky appears large, dark, and red. A glorious sight, but it means the planet is under threat from giant solar flares. From this scorching sun, humans would have to find shelter.
Once the colonists get to Proxima b, they need to get out of the way of that radiation, and the best place to avoid that is underground.
Perhaps we'll be able to establish cities that are beneath the surface.
The colonists must build a new kind of largely subterranean civilization. On Earth, our brains and our bodies have been shaped by the environment we contend with. The landforms, the oceans, the chemical makeup of the atmosphere. Scientists believe an alien environment like Proxima b could change humans into something very different.
It's hard to imagine what it would be like to live in one of these underground colonies. What would that do to a person in their lifetime? What would that do to humans over evolutionary time?
Could a colony on Proxima Centauri b eventually produce a new species, Nova sapiens?
This is the 7-passenger Accurate MDX, designed for where you drive.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
So Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount? Yep, using the app. I've been quite vigilant.
Sharon says step on it, the meeting started.
Okay, write her back. Dear Sharon, don't mess with my discount.
Faster, Mommy, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I do too, honey, but we're gonna hold it for Mommy's discount. Easy.
But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
How would I describe overpaying on a used car? It was humiliating. It's expensive. I just trusted the wrong used car sites.
Carfax has a better way. Only Carfax.com can give you the most accurate price based on the Carfax report. So you never have to overpay on a used car again.
But I guess life goes on. So, all right, come on, boy. Here we go. Let's go, buddy.
Stop the shame of overpaying and start your used car search today at the all-new Carfax.com.
Things just weren't going my way. My girlfriend didn't want to come over anymore. No matter how often I cleaned my litter box, it still smelled. But then she suggested Arm & Hammer Clump and Seal. It absorbs, seals, and destroys odor on contact. It was the change I needed. Thanks to Clump and Seal, litter box odor is no longer an issue. And I'm getting my confidence back. Arm & Hammer. More power to you.
A salute to one of Dad's most important jobs, fatherhood. This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of steel. Right now, save $30 on the FSA 56 trimmer when you buy the BGA 56 battery blower set. Visit steeldealers.com. Workout trends. Not forgiving. Charbroil grills? Forgiving. Forgiving true infrared cooking technology. Locks in flavor and makes food juicier every time. Forgiving grills for the win.
Every time it's been way too long. A Corona gets its line. Every time you're not related, but you're definitely family. Every time you meet from across the party. Every time all of us is all we need. And every time your favorite place is more about who than where. A Corona gets its line.
Human colonists could reach Proxima b by the end of the century. To survive the intense radiation on the surface, they would have to settle underground. Under those harsh conditions, scientists believe the colonists might not stay human for long.
So one of the things that Darwin assumed was true about evolution is that it has to happen slowly. And now we know that that's not true.
If you had a separate colonist group that travels away and leaves humanity, the rest of humanity behind, they would certainly begin to evolve differently from those who were left on planet Earth.
Here on Earth, we know that populations can evolve even in just a matter of a few generations. Any changes that happen, for example, from mutations caused by all of the radiation exposure, will make them different in a much faster rate than what we'd have here on Earth.
The planet's higher mass, 1.3 times that of the Earth, would have the most immediate effect.
What we might see is that people become adapted to a higher gravity environment, for example, by having stronger bones and stronger muscles.
The colonists' subterranean existence may have an even more dramatic effect on their evolution.
Away from the light, most likely they're going to be very pale in complexion. Goodbye vacation tan, because you're not affected by the rays of the sun anymore.
On Earth, organisms that live in low light conditions, like those that are nocturnal, often have very large eyes. So would humans evolve to have larger eyes if we're living in relatively low light conditions underground?
These mole people, if you will be pale and huge eyes, and maybe even their other senses would adapt to this dark environment. It could also really harden the colonists and create an environment where you must literally struggle to survive, a very competitive environment.
This competitive environment would push natural selection into overdrive. The human colonists of Proxima b could soon evolve into a new species, the mole-like Nova sapiens. But meanwhile, on Earth, the humans who stayed behind would be going through an evolution of their own.
Studies have already shown that we're seeing changes in our jaw structure, for example. They're getting smaller. We're eating more processed food. We're not crunching down on grains or breaking open bones and eating marrow. We're eating Snickers bars. Another change we're seeing in our own human physiology is our heads are getting smaller. Buy a hat lately? You might not need an XL anymore. It's because our brains are becoming more efficient.
The Earthlings of the future will use their highly efficient brains to interact with ever more sophisticated technologies.
As we move forward and we become a more technologically advanced society, the traits that allow us to interface with that technology will be the ones that are highly prized, whereas traits that allow us to, say, be really good at lifting rocks or hunting for things will diminish.
On Proxima b, the Nova sapiens are hardened by the extreme challenges of their planet. Pictures of Earth beamed through space give them a tantalizing glimpse of what their ancestors left behind.
There would definitely be Proxima b colonists who would see the grass as greener on Earth, partly because they would not have grass, but also because of the freedom of resources, just the wealth of our planet.
How could you not be jealous of that? Certainly they'd have to look upon Earthlings as lazy ne'er-do-wells with technology doing everything for them, while they have to eke out a very existence every day in that harsh climate.
What if someday the Proxima Centauri b Nova sapiens decided they didn't want to live there anymore? And they started immigrating back to Earth.
Let's say we've got the scenario where Proxima b comes back and they're an invasion force.
Given all the changes in these new colonists, I don't think I'd want to go toe-to-toe with any of them.